In part one of the series, we talked about what is a generalist and how to be a great virtual assistant as one. In part two, we discussed generalist versus specialist ideas. In this final show for this series, we're going to cover how to be successful in business as a generalist. It can be done. Hey moms, welcome to another episode of the Life Unboxed blog show, where we talk about all things momtrepreneur, from raising your kids to running a business, and the most important one, keeping your sanity. I'm Jody the mom from lifeunboxed.blog. And if you're enjoying this content, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and be sure to download the podcast wherever you're listening. Please share the podcast and YouTube channel with your friends. For more great momtrepreneur content, check out lifeunboxed.blog. And remember, if you have questions, don't stay silent. Let me know what they are. I'd be happy to answer them to the best of my abilities. There's so many books out there on how to be successful in business. Have you ever read a book and thought, finally, someone gets me? I'm not alone. You just connect with what the author is saying. You almost feel like you've been in a desert so long and you found an oasis. This was my thought when I first read Range by David Epstein. The biggest obstacle I faced when starting my virtual assistant business was the idea of specializing. This was a mountain that I could not climb. You see, there wasn't just one thing that I was an expert in or one thing that I was overly blessed with talent in. My jobs always required a wide range of thinking and skills. I was never able to focus on just one thing, and the question tormented me: how to be successful in business as a generalist. Was it even possible? For every momtrepreneur or entrepreneur or solopreneur, your number one question is, will I be successful? It was definitely mine. When I launched, I cannot talk this evening. All right. When I launched my virtual assistant business, I came to the conclusion that I could only be me. Trying to fit this square peg into a round hole just wasn't going to happen. It is already a highly emotional endeavor, launching a business, and I didn't want one more thing that I was supposed to do. So I launched my business as a generalist. I didn't offer a specific field of expertise, but I did offer a wide-ranging skill set. So as a virtual assistant, I have done some things that I never would have thought I would have done, or would have even thought to list as a skill or a service I can offer. So here are some of those crazy things that I never thought I would do, but I was asked to do, and so I said, sure, why not? Okay, so I understand the traditional publishing industry. I've designed a magazine ad with a distribution of more than 2 million liters. I've negotiated publishing contracts. I've built business websites and blogs. I've written resumes. I've written about pressure washing. I've done marketing. I've done bookkeeping. I've written on mental health, and that is to just name a few. Needless to say, being a generalist has not been boring. So my first career job, my first job that I had after high school and all that, was in accounting, and I was very good at it. If I had committed to doing just that one thing, I would never have made it to where I am. So I can't know the outcome of this what would have happened if I had stayed in accounting scenario, but I do know that I would have never gained the skills and expertise that I have today, and I would hate it. So I do confess that I prefer the variety that comes with being a generalist. I like that my work changes and that I challenge myself to learn something new. I am an information junkie, so I do like to learn new things. So if it was just doing the same things over and over again, I would be really bored. It wouldn't work for me. Okay, moms, let's talk about 5 ways to achieve success in business as a master generalist. So, part 1 and 2, we talked about different benefits and different ideas along those lines. So, let's really get into how you can achieve success in business. And you can do this, mom. It is scary venturing in the opposite direction that everyone is telling you to go in. When you hear specialize and find your niche all the time, it is hard to decide to try to do it differently. But, mom, let's stop trying to fit into someone else's idea of how to be successful in business. Now that you've decided to take the first step in the direction of being a generalist, let's get into how to be successful as one. Number 1, leverage all of your skills. Whether you've gained skills in a traditional office, as a mom, from your jobs as a teenager, or in school, combine all of that knowledge you've gained and bring those skills into your business. One of the tasks in one of my jobs was to help proofread and edit. At the time, I had never been formally trained as an editor, but my homeschool curriculum put so much emphasis on grammar that I became an integral part of the editing team. My job title at the time was executive assistant, not editor or communications, a master generalist at work. So, if you need some ideas of the skills you possess, think of your mad skills as a mom. You are a planner, a multitasker. You are able to execute projects from start to finish. Remember that amazing first birthday party you planned for your firstborn? Project executed from start to finish. So every aspect of your life contributes to your skills as a master generalist. And this is how you start to be successful as a generalist. Number 2 on our list of how to achieve success as a master generalist is create the habit of learning. If you aren't already in the habit of learning, then start to cultivate this mindset. If you need help, I highly recommend the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. So if you find that you always give up on your goals that you set, then this will be a great alternative to the goal gurus. The emphasis or the idea is to improve 1%, not 100% every day, but 1% every day. So make a little but consistent progress every day, and you will be amazed at what you can accomplish. I will be honest, I prefer this idea, theory of accomplishing goals than the smarter, and all those big, hairy, scary ones as well. So I found this to be a better way to work. Ask yourself these questions. In order to achieve success in business, what do I need to learn and what do I want to learn? You can learn anything from the book or internet. Formal classroom training is not required, but you already know this if you homeschool. So, going back to my personal example of being an editor, once I established myself as an informally trained editor, this led to being asked to edit and design a curriculum workbook to be self-published. So I took it from raw manuscript all the way through to being a published book. I've never done this before. I didn't even know how to do it. So I learned. It took a couple of hours of research, and I knew that I could do it. Since then, I've created and designed and published my own books. Yes, I'm published, and I will leave the links below. So, number 3 is take classes. I am not talking about a college degree. I am talking about taking targeted and specific training to gain a specific skill or skills. taking classes from places like Skillshare or Masterclass, and there's a bunch more out there. These classes will enable you to fill in any gaps or areas that you feel you are lacking in. After becoming an informally trained editor and book designer, I decided to get formally trained as a copy editor. So the initial thought was I could specialize in this area and leverage it to work from home. While editing is something that I do on occasion for small projects, it is not something that I actually do for my business. So much for that idea. But I am able to bring these skills into other areas of what I do. I did take the certificate program from the University of California, San Diego Extension Program, and I'll leave the link below. Some of the classes are expensive. They offer professional certificates, and maybe you would find cheaper classes or better classes from someplace like Coursera. But my experience is specifically with the University of California. And I thought the copy editing class was very well done, and I learned from it. I was really glad I took the class. Even though it's not a main part of my virtual assistant business, it still plays a role in what I do. Like, hey, designing a magazine ad for 2 million people. Yeah, why not? Number 4, market yourself as the Swiss Army knife for small businesses. You may be thinking, this sounds great, but how to be successful in business as a generalist and get clients? If you are a generalist, you are the Swiss Army knife for a small business. You really are. Your know-how and versatile skill set make you the perfect person to help a small business succeed. They can delegate anything to you. They know that you have the ability to handle it, or at least figure out how to handle it. And maybe, just maybe, to improve it. So you are the Swiss Army knife. You can do anything to help small businesses. And if you're a small business on a limited budget, only able to hire one person, you want to hire the person who has the ability, who has a wide experience and broad knowledge. Trust me on that one. And number 5. So even though you are the Swiss Army knife for small businesses, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. If you followed this blog for any length of time, you know I'm not a fan of those conventional ideas that you should be chasing your dreams, or that your dreams should center around a passion for a career. I think these ideas are somewhat misleading, much like the idea that the only way to be successful is to specialize. But, and there's always a but, right? After all of that, there's always a but. I don't think you should be doing something that you hate. You can enjoy what you do without a deep, burning passion for it, and that's okay. So when I started my virtual assistant business, I listed everything that I did from my previous jobs. That seemed like the best strategy at the time. One of those listed items was travel arrangements, because I could do it. I knew how to do it, and I was good at it. You know what I quickly discovered? I hated doing it. Most people are very particular when it comes to travel, and that's okay, because I am just as particular too when it comes to traveling. You know, they only want to fly certain airlines, and they want certain seats, and they only want to stay in these hotels, etc., etc. So keeping up with all of these particulars was not fun, nor was it enjoyable. So I decided I would no longer offer this service. And I am so glad I did. And you know what? It has not affected my business at all. So just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. You do not have to have a deep passion for whatever service you're providing, but if you absolutely hate it, then don't do it. Mom, the breadth and knowledge and experience you possess as a generalist gives you the ability to handle anything that comes your way. You don't need to lock into the idea that you can only be successful if you have one exceptional skill to offer. Never stop learning. When you stop learning, you stop growing. Your value to your clients will continue to grow as you continue to learn new things and new skills. If you're unsure where to start, then be sure to check out the totally free 20-page workbook that will walk you through the process of starting a business without a niche, and that goes hand in hand with being a generalist. So definitely, it's free to you. This is one of those soapboxes that I will always stand on and preach on. So I wanted to make sure you had the tools to really make your business a success as a generalist and without a niche. I am so glad you joined me today. This wraps up our entire series on being a generalist, and I hope it got you thinking about the idea of specializing, these ideas that we always hear that we don't always vet. And I hope that I've challenged you to at least vet the idea. If you want to help spread the word, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. You can listen to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Remember to check out the Life Unboxed store for all of your Mom Boss merch. And you can support the show with coffee. Visit Ko-fi, that's ko-fi.com/Life Unboxed blog to buy this tired mama a cup of joe. For more great momtrepreneur content, follow Life Unboxed on social media or check out lifeunboxed.blog. Be sure to share the podcast, the blog, and this video with your friends. And I will see you in the next video.